Okay, so something really interesting happened to me, and I'm going to share this information with you guys because you may not know it. And if you're like me, an intuitive thinker, it's very likely you have a problem with Facebook. And I'm going to go into my history a little bit with Facebook. So I started on Facebook um, maybe in 2006. Yeah, I think I was in college and I started in 2006. Um, or maybe I was still in high school. It's possible because I was still in high school in 2006. Um, and I just had a few friends on it. I would post little random things, some pictures from high school, from like my study abroad that I did, and it was all cool. You know, it was all fine. Then once I got into college, I started to, people from high school started adding me on Facebook. And these weren't people I particularly liked or had connections to, as well as people that I cared about from college, but then also people that I didn't care for. So then I had all sorts of people on my Facebook, and my news feed was a mess. Now, I will say, in being an intuitive thinker, in being an INTJ, just kind of the way we're wired and set up, we're not really set up to want to constantly share our lives with people. Although I see a real benefit in it now, and as I've grown, and right now, I feel like I have a really fully developed introverted feeling function, to the point where, I used to type as INFJ, and also, um, I've learned and forced myself to connect with people in a way that's very uncomfortable for me. So I force myself to do things that I don't want to do, which, and as a result, people even say I look and sound like an ENFJ. My mother's actually an ENFJ, so. But yeah, so we're not really into the let me share my whole life and be really fake and make it seem like my life is perfect thing that people do on social media. And I have to say right now that the worst social media in existence right now for me is Facebook. And I'll tell you why. It just attracts the most phony, fake behavior from people. And it's like Instagram is memes for the most part. Yes, it's selfies, but overall, that doesn't bother me anymore. YouTube is, videos, and you learn a lot and you can connect with people. Twitter is, kind of up to date statuses and stuff. And then Facebook kind of brings it all together. And what I find the most is that because Facebook, your network on Facebook is probably 95% friends, family, and coworkers, you get the most fronting. Like, you get the people that are being most fake. And it's not something that we take kindly to, that we want any part of. Like, I don't want any part of it. It would become a point where Facebook was all obnoxious selfies, obnoxious family pictures of people that are now developing their own families, um, obnoxious kind of opinion posts about shit, and talk about things in an extremely reductive way, and extremely kind of like, people in their conservative views will come up, and, just overall trying to gain attention, and trying to gain attention in a way that's overwhelmingly, praising people for being moralistic and conservative. And now that a lot of people in my age group, even though we're still in our 20s, are having families, getting married, and having children, a lot of people are pretending that they're not still engaging in behaviors that I know very well they're engaging in behind closed doors. And they're showing just their, good face, which I get it. If you have a public profile and you work in a place where your reputation matters, no, you're not going to post your drunk pics. I don't post drunk pics anyway. But there's a difference between kind of like keeping your private life private and just being a straight up phony. Just kind of like, lovey-dovey stuff with your husband that you're cheating on, or, saying, that now that you're a parent, you have all these conservative views on things, or pushing your Republican, or it could be Democratic too. It basically anyone that's just obnoxious with it and pours it down your throat. Vegans, vegetarian. There's certain platforms and there's certain positions that people take in life that naturally just call them to be ridiculously obnoxious and at times just kind of like it could be sexist, it could be racist, it could be so many things, but whatever it is, it annoyed the shit out of me. A second thing happened to me with my experience with Facebook, in that when I would date a guy, I would add him on Facebook. And then once we're not dating anymore, there he is on my Facebook. Now, because of my ego, I don't like breaking up with someone and having them feel like they really bothered me or like I'm mad at them. That's something, so that's a positive and negative thing. It's positive because I'm not the girlfriend that like drunk calls you and curses you out, or like the ex-girlfriend that like harasses your new girlfriend. I would never do that. I have too much ego for that. But at the same time, like, I look at it, I'm like, I don't want to see what you're doing. So then I have to unfollow these guys, right? And this is what happened to me. And I want people to understand that I have not had Facebook newsfeed for 3 years now, since 2013, of around the same time. And this is why I've thought to take the time to talk to you guys about this and make this video, because it's been 3 years now that I haven't had a Facebook newsfeed. Now, do I still get the news from people? Yes. I individually click on people's profiles from my friend list if I'm interested in what they're doing. And people can still tag me, and I'm still on Facebook Messenger, but I disabled my Facebook newsfeed, and I'm going to tell you why. So I unfollowed an ex, and I didn't unfriend him because, once again, I don't mind if they unfriend me, but I want them to do it and not me. And most guys have not done that. Some have, but most of them haven't. So I don't want to see what you're doing. I unfollowed him, and somehow his post still ended up on my newsfeed. And it's like, I want him to live his life, but I can't watch it, And I don't hate him enough to like defriend him. Like, I don't hate any of my exes, to be honest. Cue the video about wanting to be friends with my exes, but how that's like never gonna happen. So I was like, this is a problem because I'm not in a good place, relationship. I'm single, so I really don't want to see if they have like this wonderful relationship life, like, so I have to do something about this. I have to do something about these people being so lovey-dovey on Facebook. I have to do something about all these people fronting and lying, knowing that they're cheating and doing drugs, but pretending like they're fucking, the Donna Reed show. I have to do something about it. And I was like, I'm going to disable my newsfeed. So I just like Googled it, and I found something. It's called Facebook Purity. So I'm going to put it down in the links below. This is not sponsored, obviously. I wish they did have a sponsorship program, because Facebook Purity allowed me to keep Facebook and to also keep my sanity, which I felt like wasn't possible because I started to feel drowned in other people's lives. Like, I remember there was a point where, especially with the ex at the time, I think I just stayed on his page for like 5 hours, and I kept refreshing it. I was like, this is so unhealthy. Or I used to be on my news feed and just like refresh it and see what people are doing, and people hanging out, people pretending like they're best friends and they know they hate each other. I just couldn't take the fakeness. And I know a lot of you probably get annoyed by it. Now, maybe some of you don't, but I felt like I didn't want to see anything that disturbed me. But I also didn't want to get rid of my Facebook because I like having that open in case anyone wants to contact me. I also use Facebook Messenger heavily. So I use Facebook Purity, and at first I just got rid of certain people, and then I was like, fuck that newsfeed. So I don't have a newsfeed, and I haven't had a newsfeed for 3 years, and it's one of the best decisions that I made. I feel so much healthier. A lot of my friends get rocked by things if someone announces having, a baby or a wedding or a breakup or just all sorts of things that you just kind of don't want to get sucked into other people's lives, but you still want people to be able to contact you. And you still want to be able to like their pictures if you would want to. And now I just individually click on people's profiles, and I stay in touch with them that way. People still invite me to events. Everything's fine. I just do not have a newsfeed. And I haven't had a newsfeed for exactly 3 years now. I think it was January 28th, 2013 when I disabled it. And it sounds like, why is this so dramatic? Because I felt like I was drowning in Facebook. in posts from exes, and posts from people I hated from high school, in posts from people I couldn't stand in college, posts from people who were just acquaintances, but they're fake acquaintances. It felt like I was drowning. And that's something that's out of my life now. So now I get to be on Facebook, enjoy it for what it is, for being able to connect to people, but I don't have to read your posts. I don't have to read your racist posts or your sexist posts or your fake posts or your breakup or you're having a baby or all sorts of other shit that I really don't give a fuck about. And I get to be on it. So that's all I have to say now. So that's my kind of spiel. And I already know if you're an NT or if you're an INTJ or INTP or whatever, like I know you would probably appreciate this if you haven't already found out about this resource. So I hope that this has been helpful for you and my fellow Myers-Briggs lovers. And even if you're not, maybe you just kind of don't want to deal with the drama temporarily, you can always bring it back and bring your feedback at any time. Maybe just like right now, you don't want your news feed, but maybe in the future you might want to bring it back. And it's customizable. So you can kind of just block certain things and let other things in. So that's basically all I have to say about that right now. I'll be back in 2 weeks with 2 new videos. I think that should be my thing. 2 weeks, 2 videos. 2 weeks, 2 videos. All right? Okay, YouTubians. All right, bunnies. I'll talk to you next time. See you in 2 weeks. Bye.